You certainly may. Just don't make them leave it. All right, we are back. It's June 9th still. Doug Ellis, treasurer, clerk and recorder, microfilming tax records, discuss wages.
I'll do the microfilming first. I was dealing with ComStore, they're the ones that first approached me on this, and I had him send me, and I'm sorry I didn't make copies of these, it slipped my mind, but I had him send me a quote. I thought since we're switching from CSA to Black Mountain, that it would be smart to at least microfilm all of our tax years, which they go back to 96, I believe, is the first year we have in that system. Yeah. And his quote from ComStore came in at 14 to 15,000 to do all years, which he does a top-notch job. He sent me copies of what he does, and he put our tax paper on them, so when you pull it up on the microfilm, it looks just like the tax bill we get, in case we ever need to make a copy for somebody. If we made it on our paper, it probably would turn out close to the same, so I'm not sure that's a big deal. And then I got a call from DIS. Matt Davison is the guy that's usually at all the conventions, and it had slipped my mind that they also do microfilming. I thought they were more just the computer programming. Anyway, his quote came in for all years at $7,056.
So what was the first one?
The first one was 15,000. So they're
Wow.
half price.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they do this. He didn't send me any copies or anything. We didn't have the time to do all that, but I'm sure that they're going to be every bit as legible and everything as ComStore. This is something that's just never been in the budget. We've always had money in the budget for clerk and recorder record preservation. There's never been anything on the treasurer's side for it. And to get 24 years worth of documents for $7,000 sounds like a lot of money, but for 24 years, that's
It's not per year, it's in total.
that's the total.
Wow.
Anticipated total for 24 years of bills using the above roll cost. Said there could be prep work for $25 an hour. If there's prep work, I wouldn't imagine they would need much prep work, because we're just going to send them the electronic files and they're going to record them on microfilm. I can't see what they would need for prep work.
How long will it take them?
I'm not sure on that. He said he could have it done before we switch, would be Black Mountain scheduled to be in October. So,
Wow.
and that will give us the copies we need. Tax records have to be kept permanently. You can't get rid of tax bills, tax payments, can't do it. So that would give us the documentation we need for.
Up until that point, when you would start, are those back years all microfilmed?
But no.
It's just hard copy?
They're all hard copy down at the vault.
Someday you're gonna have to do that to make room for.
I'm not sure. I think if we started keeping up with what's coming in
Be all right then.
with just microfilm, I think we'd probably be okay for a long time. I mean, it takes up volumes of less room, and you just can't even compare. We've got back in the clerk and recorder's vault, we've got one file cabinet that goes back to the dawn of time almost, doesn't it? And
Hmm.
I don't think we would have trouble with the room if we, you know, once we get a system set up to start doing this and work it into the budget and just automatically do it each year. I think that's the smartest way to go with it. It's just when, especially with everything going to computers, and the way technology changes. I mean, just from the time I worked in this office, we went from floppy disks to which are, you can't even get a computer anymore that will take a floppy, I don't think, to CDs, which are, I think, on their way out to USB drives that one little USB drive will hold gigabytes of memory now. And this is my first computer I ever bought, held 2 gigabytes of memory. They said, you'll never use all that. And that's not even enough to get you turned on anymore with a computer. But anyway, that's something that's not in my budget. It's something that I think is totally necessary. I mean, I would not feel comfortable leaving the Tyler system without. I mean, we've got it all in paperback. So
But
it's
who
not-
wants to go back to look for something? Oh, man.
One of the first jobs I had was, when I started working here, was to go back to it was only 1976, and research who had paid a certain parcel. And that was a nightmare. I could find the receipts, but it was a lot of legwork.
Hmm.
And these would be all categorized by year and district, and I mean, it would just make it.
This is just tax records.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, because our A101s only have a shelf life of 2 years, so there's a way to get rid of those through the record preservation and disposal system.
Okay.
Well, the record preservation money can only be used for recording,
For
is that right?
recording, right? Yep.
Huh.
But we have a handbook that tells us a retention schedule. It shows how long we keep motor vehicle, how long we keep tax records, how long we keep A101s and checks and everything that we deal with. And these have to be kept alive.
It looks to me like we're gonna make some money, whether it be a bake sale or otherwise.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just seems like something that should have been done all along. Of course, 24 years ago, who would have thought that computers don't always make things easier, but, yeah, so, I don't know what their prep work could allow to, but even giving them almost $1,000 for prep work, 8,000 would be, I think would be a high estimate. And then each year, it looks like he's got it, 6,000 tax bills per year, $294, where Marty from Comstor was figuring $525 per year. And that was at a discounted price. He quoted me $5.25 a jacket, and then now they charge $6.50, but he was gonna honor his original price, but which is still double what he has.
How many will fit in a jacket?
100. The way he's got it figured, which they should be pretty close.
What are those annual totals again?
$294 for DIS and $525 for Comstal.
Okay, thanks. I know they're less expensive, but one of the things I also like about DIS is we're already working with them, gonna be. So we already have a relationship, this is just one more thing they're doing for us.
Right. Yeah.
Well, any other questions from the board?
I don't,
Mary, would make a motion?
Yeah, if you guys are so inclined.
yeah.
Make a motion then, that we give Doug the go-ahead to go with DIS, and we take the money from Pilt.
Okay?
That was a motion, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I second it.
All right, it has been moved. Before we take the vote, I have one question for discussion. How much? The total is $7,056 with 24-hour prep and an understanding that this money is gonna have to be in the budget next year to move forward. So, what I'm thinking is we should put a little extra than the $7,056 in there so we can cover the $24 per hour, should it be needed. And then anything that's not spent could remain in that budget to pay for that.
I think 8,000 would be proper to put in there. That gives him a little bit of wiggle room if need be.
And then it could come to us if he needs more than that. Does that sound okay to you, Doug?
Yeah, I can't imagine it going more than that. I
Okay,
don't think it will be that high.
so can I ask for a friendly amendment that we follow through with the motion to $8,000?
Yes.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and give Doug the go-ahead to work with DIS for the record preservation for taxes, microfilming tax records, up to a sum of $8,000 to be funded through PILT. All those in favor of the motion, please
Well,
signify.
you said 7,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, 8.
Okay.
Thank you. 8,000. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
My other one is one we started about 2 months ago, and we were doing it on Wednesdays, and we just kind of left off with it. But it was a salary adjustment or wage adjustment for
Thank you.
the guys and gals in my office.
Thank you.
And what, these are some of the counties that are closest to us in size and tax base. And I kind of highlighted the numbers that I went through. What I did was I just took one of them I kind of took an average, the other one I took a bare bones amount. And a lot of these don't have clerks, they just have deputies. Madison County, all they have are deputies. Teton County, all they have are deputies, which is an option we could go to, but I don't think we need to. But when I took the amounts on the first average that I did, I took, oh, okay. Oh, that was, I'm sorry. Anyway, I took, on my first one, and there's not a lot of difference, but my first one, I took the over on Toole County, has clerk and recorder and elections, they added 50 cents. I took that amount, and I think that was really about the only difference I made. And when I totaled all of these and took the average of them, I got $15.05 an hour is what the other counties are averaging. When I took the bottom line figure, I came up with $14.89 an hour, so not a lot of difference. Then I just kind of went over the wages for the county, for our county, just to see, you know, kind of what everyone was making. One thing I want to kind of point out over here under Broadwater on this first sheet where it says start $13.35, that's what two of my clerks are making right now, Bev and Charles. They're making $13.35. $14.53 is the highest wage in my office, which is Joyce, who's been here for 15 years. Tammy Rouser, who's our accounts payable clerk, makes $14.66. She makes more than anybody in my office, even the one that's been there for 15 years. And I just don't feel that's right to my people. It just seems like it ought to be, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Tammy, because I think she does an excellent job. But we handle taxes, motor vehicle, clerk and recording, record preservation, we do elections, we receive every dime that comes into the county. I mean, the amount of work that the people in my office have to know is miles beyond, I think, what Tammy has to know to do her job. And we have to know the laws for the motor vehicle. We have people coming every day to the office wondering, what about GDW, what about taxes? We handle tax liens and tax deeds and delinquent taxes and protested taxes from Puget Sound and Quest and all the other, and, you know, it's almost mind-boggling sometimes. But I was just thinking, I took Friday off and went hiking. The only reason I could take Friday off and feel comfortable getting lost in the mountains is because everyone in my office can handle what's there when I'm not there. And I just think it's a shame that they're the lowest paid office workers.
We don't want to have to handle things every day. Just because we can, we don't want to.
But there's a huge amount of responsibility in that office, there really is. And I just don't think that they deserve to be the lowest paid people in the building. The only ones I've found that are lower than them are, most of them are part-time. I left the sheriff's office out because their job titles don't really match much of what we do. The only one even close is Tammy Daly, probably, or I don't know her last name anymore.
Alan.
Okay. And she makes $15.65, I think, an hour, which is $1 an hour more than Joyce, who's been here for 15 years. And I know I've complained about Joyce myself as much as a lot of people, but without her, that last election, she did, it wouldn't have went near as well as it did. It took us a while to get the information, the reports off the computer, but we were balanced during that election fairly early. It went well.
One of the reasons for the office restructuring that we've been doing is because there hasn't been a rhyme or reason for the way things have been done in this county for many, many years. But when you bring in a new employee, you not only look at what you want somebody to make, you have to look at what everybody else is making. And people need to be in not only departments, but like jobs. And you don't bring in a new employee, you hire than employees that are already with you. Be it in the county, be it in private business, be it anywhere. And of course, unfortunately, you do see it in a lot of places. But one of the things that we have a responsibility to do is to sit down and evaluate all this stuff. And that's why we've been doing this restructuring, to try and fix some of the things that we have. Legally, we can't negotiate down. So we have to be looking at how do we make everybody equitable? And this is one of those questions. Because things were not done equitably before, we have to address it right now. We can't just continue kicking the can down the road. So I hear your point.
And I'm not sure about the other county numbers. One of the numbers I used in Chillicothe County, it says here they pay their clerks $10.20 an hour. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine. We're paying part-time people that spray mosquitoes $2 an hour more than that.
Mhm.
And that's what they say they pay their clerks. So, but I noticed their treasurer clerks make $13.86. Their clerk and recorder clerks make $10.20, so there's $1.40 an hour difference. My clerks do both of those.
Yeah. And one thing with that I'm gonna guess, based on these other numbers, is this might be a temporary and assistant type of thing. Micah was working for $10 an hour.
Yeah.
And he was, fill in, that kind of thing. I hope that's the case there at $10.20 an hour.
That's,
But
yeah.
it doesn't jive with those other numbers. Especially when you have part-timers at $11.50.
Right, and that's what I thought is, that's probably a part-time, but it's still the number I use to get my
You still used it in the
my
average.
figures, yeah. But I would like to see the people in the office, the lowest I came up with was $14.89 an hour. I think when we were in here before talking about a rewrite at $14.79,
Okay.
I think is what we were, I think that's the number we were throwing around.
I didn't bring that file with me.
And $14.79 gives Joyce 26 cents an hour pay raise. Which the only one that really it's not treating fairly is Joyce, but, I realize that we have to get, it's like you said, you can't go backwards. And there is no longevity in
Yeah.
anywhere except the sheriff's office, the only office that has longevity. So there's really not much you can do about that.
No.
And really, I mean, I've told Ann that she can't quit, she can't retire until I do.
Just scratch that last little bit. I've told Ann she can never retire, period.
Yeah, I mean,
So have I.
if Ann left, we'd have a huge loss in our office. And it's really the same with everybody. I mean, Charles knows that motor vehicle better than anybody. And,
His customer service, I think, is his strong suit. He is so good with the public.
he gets a lot of stuff done that I can't get done, not just with the public, with Deer Lodge, but
That's,
I've actually called on the title to get it, to have them put it through for me, and they told me no. I give it to him, and it's done the next day.
He knows how to sweet talk it.
I don't know what it is, there's a reason he's got a girlfriend and I don't. But I would at least like to see him brought up. The lowest figure I got was $14.89. That would be, I think, an ideal number for him. I think we were talking $14.79 before, which isn't gonna put him miles and miles ahead of anybody else. It would put him, what did I say, Tammy was getting 14.66. It would put him a little bit above her, and I would have no problem with that because they do deal with so many more things than she has to. And again, I'm not trying to belittle her at all. She does good work. I mean, my employees last week put in, what was it? Was it 17 and a half hour day? Or longer than that? No, you had 11 hours overtime, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah. So you put in 19 hours.
Well, it was midnight when Melissa called me with the results.
Right. Yeah.
it was
Most
2
of them.
AM when you called me.
And then we started at 5:30 that morning,
Man,
and every one of them was back before 8 the next morning.
yeah,
So,
that's what's
you know,
impressive.
they deserve a little more bang for the bucks they take.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Well, and I don't think people realize, I mean, okay, I can come in and pay my taxes, get my receipt and leave, or I can come in and license a vehicle and renew it. I don't think people realize what all goes into this stuff.
Motor vehicle, just the work on motor vehicle since they went to that Merlin system has at least tripled the work that we have to do. It's just gotten crazy.
And Merlin isn't perfected by any means.
No. But they're still working on bugs with that almost daily.
And how long has it been in place?
4 years.
We started what you was doing.
Was it a few? I don't know. I try not to keep track of my nightmares. And that's been a nightmare. It's been terrible. Yeah, because the new place, we're MD10. We were still in the old place when we were in Lake Sea. New place, we're 4 years late in coming, so I'd probably go 4 or 5.
Some of the, just pointing this out, Nicole Brown is a department head, and so she probably shouldn't be in here as a comparison. Same with Debbie Kelly,
Right,
although they're
yeah.
both in the same job description.
Yeah, I really didn't use them, it was just, this is a list that Melissa made up. But I looked at the county payroll for all of the county employees.
Yeah,
And like I said, really the only one in the sheriff's department that has any duties that even match ours in any way would be Tammy, and she was making $15.65 or $85 an hour. But I couldn't find any that were lower other than Debbie Ruckel, who is part-time in three offices.
right, yeah. Well, what do you guys think? Any questions for Doug? Any comments?
I agree, they need a raise.
When we ran the numbers last time, what was the total it would cut into the budget? Yeah, I don't remember that either. It was surprisingly little.
Yeah.
One thing is we have a savings that we're sitting on. And again, I didn't bring it with me, but we had $70,000 that we saved. And then we've had a couple of hits into that. I think we're still at 59, and I think that was around 20. I wanna say 14, but I'm gonna say 20 to be on the safe side. So we're still sitting on a savings of about $40,000. If we do implement the number we were talking about before, these two wouldn't, especially if that cushion is correct, these two wouldn't affect that at all. So when you look at the numbers, you have to take out certain people from here. Nicole Brown is department head. Brooke Dolan, she's funded actually from a grant.
Okay.
So she really shouldn't be in here either. Tara, she's in justice court. Their salaries are based on Judge Reynolds. She is staff in that
Okay.
area. Debbie Kelly is a department head. Audrey is a deputy, so she's at 10% or 90% of Val. And then Wendy and Tammy fit in there. Debbie, so, I still think your argument is actually stronger when you do take out those ones. Because again, the bottom line is this attention to detail wasn't done years ago. And so now we're again cleaning house. So I don't see how we let some people be at the very bottom of the pay scale when they have 15 years' experience. especially when you look at the amounts that other counties are paying, it's far and away more than we are, which is true in every department.
It is.
Mhm.
What was that figure? You had 1589, is that what it?
1489.
1489?
Yeah, that was just, I took all the other counties' wages, just added them together and divided by the number of employees, I guess. Count each one of those as an employee.
And that's why what we're doing is called a market adjustment is,
And where it says
Adjusting.
like Blaine County 1686, I didn't add 1686 in there twice to make it look better. I put 1607, 1686, 1462 once, 1988, 1469. I took the lower amounts on all of these, I didn't take the deputy amounts. The only one I did different was on the larger, I added the 50 cents in for election.
mm, okay.
Would you do that again on elections? Add another 50 cents?
Would I do that?
What's your thoughts?
Actually, that's Toole County that does it,
Okay.
but I just did it to get my average.
I
think-
don't know that that would fly through the Me Too clause. It's not a market adjustment because it's only done by one other county, and it's not a Davis-Bacon increase.
Yeah,
Therefore, it's a merit increase, and that would be challenged, and I don't believe we would win that one.
Mm-mm.
yeah, and I wouldn't push for that one, that's something that would benefit Joyce, and that might make her feel better for being there as long as she has.
Mhm.
Certainly with me, but, you know, if I was to add 50 cents for elections, what would I add for clerk and recording, and what would I add for motor
Longevity.
vehicle, and what would I add for, I've got Bev doing all the taxes, you know, I'd have to think about adding a little bit for all those, and that's
Yeah.
And
not
we-
something I wanna get into.
We all work on just about everything in the
Mhm.
office, so.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah. And everything is as important as everything else. I mean, you don't have elections without taxes, because that's what it is for.
right.
You don't have people driving into work without motor vehicle.
Yeah, and really, if there was one office in this building that you would have a hard time getting rid of, it would be my office.
Well, that's, yeah. I think that's why everything is based off of your office. It's the starting point for the entire county.
Statewide, that's the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I remember when I started at $7 an hour.
Really?
And Judy was coming to the commission, and every week she'd say, I'm trying to get you a raise, I'm trying to get you a raise, and I think I worked for almost 3 years before I got up to close to $10 an hour.
Wow.
Hmm.
That was right behind you.
But it was tough to stay, it really was, it was hard not to go find a place to work, and we're almost to that position again where they can, $13.35 an hour sounds like a good wage to a lot of people, but, Charles is looking at commuting from Bozeman here pretty soon, maybe, depending on how things go. He could probably get a job at McDonald's close to that, and with the money he'd save at gas, it would be worth his while, but, you know, I don't wanna see that happen. I'd like to keep him here just because.
Well,
coming
you know,
in.
anybody who understands business, the argument that, well, you pay your people as cheaply as you can, they know that falls flat. You pay people a wage to keep them. Because again, anyone who understands business knows how expensive it is to hire new employees. It takes 1 year to pay off the hiring process of a new employee. The advertising, the interviewing, the hours involved with that, and then the training once they're hired. You've got a staff of people who know what they're doing. And you're involved in a learning curve right now.
Yeah.
To stop that, to start training new people, would really be a detriment to this county. You know,
I know Bev is a fast learner. She really is, and she picks up things quick and pretty easily. But she's still on a learning curve down there.
Sure.
She's got a 5-subject notebook that she keeps notes in. 5 subjects: motor vehicle, taxes, clerk and recording, elections.
Yeah.
You know, everything that comes up is new to her, and you're right, that learning curve it takes a long time to settle in and feel comfortable with all of that.
Yeah, there's a reason there's longevity pay, and there's a reason people ask for experience on applications. That is something that really counts. So any other thoughts from the board?
So you've got the money in your budget?
I actually think I do. I haven't paid, haven't had a chief deputy. So that's money that hasn't been put out all year long. And that would more than cover these wages. I'll just have to rework the wage part of my budget next year, but I don't think it would. I think the only reason I think my budget's gonna have to go up next year, but I don't think not due to wages, it's gonna be due to elections and the mail-in ballots and the absentees. Our postage cost for elections this year was just.
It's only gonna get worse.
It is.
What was the percentage of people in this county that voted absentee?
I would say 50%, close to 50%. And that's just on the primary election. Oh, yeah, the absentee vote is changing the way people look at elections. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if our clerk and recorder convention this year doesn't try to, we have a, what do you call them for the legislature?
Lobbyist?
Lobbyist. That I wouldn't be surprised if they don't ask our lobbyists to try to go to all mail ballots. It would be so much easier.
We tried that when I was at Secretary of State's office.
Oh, really?
We didn't succeed, obviously, but there was a lot of support for it.
I
And
think
it
there's-
just keeps growing
Mhm.
more and more.
Well, and the way it is now, the only time that you can't vote an absentee ballot is from noon the day before the election until 5 o'clock that day. So they give our office 5 hours to do all the computer work, get everything balanced, do all of our reports, which for the polls, you run 2 poll reports for the judges. You have to run one report for all precincts. So that's 5 precincts. That's just 10 reports for the poll report, plus 3 more for the all precinct report. And they're big reports, and we've got 5 hours to run all of those, get them all alphabetized, make them to where the judges can just flip through them and be okay with it. That's one other thing, and I know everything comes down to dollars and cents, and maybe the mail-in ballot would take care of this if it passes. But I feel so sorry for those election judges working minimum wage, or not much over minimum wage. And they they were there from 6 in the morning until 9 or 9:30 at night. It's a long day, and they put up with a lot during that day.
Yeah.
But that's a different day and a different
Different
cost.
day and a different dollar.
Yep.
So what are you guys thinking?
When would you want this to go into effect?
I'd like to see it start as soon as possible. I know the money's there. I haven't, like I said, I haven't paid a chief deputy all year long. So that saved me probably $5 an hour for 11 months. That should more than cover the little bit this is gonna take up until the end of the fiscal year.
And we do have the 1 FTE that we're down that gives some money for this. Franklin?
I guess the biggest thing, you know whether you can work it. It's a big question there, or an answer, whichever way you want to put it.
But he still needs a vote from us in order to move forward.
Well, yeah, I know, but, and we're relying on his information.
Mhm. Do you have any questions or thoughts, or want to pose any kind of a motion or suggestion or argument?
No, I guess, probably as close as it's gonna be, is right, what you got figured.
Yeah, I don't, and like I said, I didn't use the grandstanding numbers. I used pretty much the rock bottom that they gave me. I realize that money doesn't grow on trees.
Actually, it does.
So, it
It's
does.
paper.
Actually, it's cloth.
What did you say?
Actually, it's cloth.
There's a question.
And I'll take that as soon as we have a motion on the
I'll
floor.
make the motion
Now, what is your motion?
to grant Doug for his staff the raise that he has figured out, and money's in his budget to pay for it, and be effective immediately.
All right. And are you going with the 1505 or the 1489 in your motion?
I had written down 1489.
That's what I
All
think,
right.
too.
Okay, so is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a first and, motion and a second to, raise Doug's staff to $14.89 per hour. And, I will stop right now and take discussion.
Just
Tim?
Madam Chair, Tim Ravenel, real quick question. Does this equate to an average per hour increase across the board equally for all of the folks in your office, Doug, or does this?
No.
Is this?
No, it's just gets them all up to the same pay scale. Yeah, in order to do, like you were saying, then we would bring longevity into it, and the only office that has longevity is the sheriff's office. It's not something, that's not a, benefit that the other offices get. So it's not, it's not 100% fair for everybody, but I think it's gonna bring us up to where we're in the marketplace to compete with other counties and other businesses. When we get a job opening, then, it's for one thing, it's gonna give us a bigger, better job pool. but it's also gonna keep the employees from going to McDonald's or Burger King because it's a lot less stressful and less drive.
Maybe follow up?
Actually, before you do, and I think I'm gonna have to ask for a friendly amendment too on the motion. This isn't really a raise, this is a market adjustment, and that's why it's raising people to a level, because we cannot do any kind of a merit or longevity because it goes against the Me Too Plus with the union. So that's the reason, all we can do is a market adjustment, and that doesn't take into account qualifications, experience, years, none of that. We're just adjusting per market what a clerk in this department would make as compared to the market, if that helps. So, did you have a follow-up?
I did. So I guess to lead my question just a little bit further, if you were to take your lowest paid employee in your department and your highest paid, which is going to come up some, do you have any figure as far as, okay, we're ranging from this market adjustment increase is going to start at 30 cents an hour, and then maybe there'll be some that are going to get $1.50 an hour. See, follow my question, Doug? Just better understand about how much in that range. I know I don't want to expect a pinpoint figure on that, but I know each employee is different because.
So my highest paid employee would bring her up 36 cents an hour. That's the one with 15 years experience, so. And my lowest paid one, it would bring him up $1.54 an hour.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheryl?
When you have these market adjustments and you're using whatever figure from Broadwater County and you're using whatever figure from whatever other county, it's like, have you taken into consideration in Broadwater County that the commissioners voted to pay the employees increase amount in their insurance policy? That actually would be an expense to the employee. So when you're figuring these monies, was that included in the calculation?
One of these done, that's not the one I brought up, but I do have one that gives their insurance, what they're paid, and yeah, we're pretty much apples to apples here. We're not doing apples and oranges. That's why we pick the counties we pick, is because their tax base is the same as ours,
And
balances it out.
with a market adjustment, you don't compare to one county. Doug's compared to 8. And what you do is you look at the counties and you look at which ones are similar by population, by valuation, by job description, depending on what it is that you're doing. The portion of the benefit, and that is what you're asking about, is taken into consideration. The thing is we have a nice benefit package, but so do other counties. So, like Doug said, if it's apples to apples between those, then they're already set. There's already an apples to apples comparison. So for a market adjustment, you'd be looking at those because that is apples to apples. And that's what Doug has done on that.
I just had an email that the treasurer sent around statewide, and it was totally about insurance, what other counties pay for insurance. I've got it saved down in my email folder, but we're, even though our insurance is good and the county does cover a lot of it, we're not on the top of the insurance by any means. There's a lot of counties that the employees don't pay anything. There's some that they pay $10 a month, $20 a month. Yeah, so, you know, we're doing okay, but we're We're not the top of the heap by a long ways.
No, in fact, where our benefits are so good as compared to the private sector, as compared to
Right.
other counties, you're right, we're not the best. Yeah.
But there's no complaints. I mean,
No, it's still a great plan, a great benefit, yeah. So I guess the question you answered, or the answer to your question, Sean, was yes. He did take that into account. And then we have been too, as we've been looking at these and trying to evaluate this and make things a little bit more affordable. So, doesn't look like there's any more questions from the board? And may I ask for a friendly amendment that we allow Doug the market adjustment increase to set his clerks at $14.85.
89.
Thank you, $14.89. So with that, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks for all you do and your staff too.
All pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks.
All right, two more little pieces. This is the contract from Michelle Pickery. And when you were gone, Elaine, Franklin and I voted to follow through and sign said contract and hire Michelle to be our HR specialist. She has spoken with Debbie. They've had a couple of phone conversations to talk about what this would look like, what their relationship would be. And so these are just the details. And this was all discussed on the phone. Let me give you a contract copy too now.
It's good to me.
All right. We should probably have a motion just to cross our Ts and dot our Is on signing said contract, unless there's any other questions from the board.
I don't have any.
Oh, yeah.
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the contract with Michelle Bakari for professional services contract. That would be legal HR services. Public comment, yes, Jim?
Just a real quick question, has our county attorney reviewed the contract?
Mhm.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I think we want to sign two, and then we'll give her an original, and we'll keep an original.
Oh, this is me.
Yeah, that'll work. And then while we're signing, just information from this morning. Nick Murnion, the county attorney from Valley County, who's been working on our behalf, he is running unopposed for county attorney. He obviously won his primary, again unopposed. We expect him to win the general too, as again, he is unopposed. So, yeah. There you go. And I put a line there for Doug too, or you, Ann, I don't know which one. Or to attest.
Oh, it is, since I'm actually doing something to this.
All right. Thank you.
And would you print me a clean copy?
Sure. Yeah.
It's mine went that way.
There you go.
Please.
Perfect. All right, thank you very much. I will give you that copy. And anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, I do. At noon, I got a call from the funeral home here. You know, I don't know, a year or so ago, and it's here, you know, for indigent burials. We got 2 this week.
Oh, my gracious.
Yeah, we've been all this time. Yeah, so anyway, and he said, there's no assets, there's nothing. And we never did decide on anything, you know. He just checks his, I think it's white sulfur. I might have these mixed up here now. Maybe it's 2,100. 2,500 is Lewis and Clark, and 1,500 is Jefferson County. So I don't know, we're gonna have to figure out something. He said that if we would go with the 1,500 and come back and revisit it in a year. So,
Did you look at the budget? Because we did put some in the budget. I just don't remember how much.
for some reason, I thought there was 5,000, but
Did you look? Is that what we have?
no, he just called me during my noon hour,
Okay.
so but I thought there was 5,000, but
And I can't remember.
and if there is, we're probably okay then, unless we want to figure out how much we want to do for each one. But, so he says that, he said there's gonna be more. Lewis and Clark used to have, he said like 20 or 30, now they're around 70 a year.
And you can't cremate them, because if they don't have people to give the okay, it has to be a flat-out burial.
Yeah, we talked about that, but, no, he said, like, it's, what are these, these are either way, if they're a burial or, I guess, but something, I know it wasn't on the agenda or anything else, and, I guess we can check and see what there is on that, and that might,
You want
Yes,
to bring
bye.
that back to us next week? And we'll visit it then? Or do you want to try and get together sooner? Did this sound
next
like-
week I think we fine, because
Okay, we'll
he
put it
seemed
on
to
the
be
agenda.
okay with it, he's just if, I gave him a call down, I guess that will do. Well, I told him, I said, I'm sure we're gonna do something, I don't know what.
Okay, so you'll bring the total from the budget next Monday and I'll put it on the agenda, for, how about 11:45?
Yeah, it shouldn't take very long.
And then once we know how much we have for sure, we'll be able to put, whatever amount we think is appropriate.
What do they pay in Lewis and Clark County, did you say?
2,500.
And what about Mar?
Mars, 2,100. Yeah. Now, I think it was, I don't know how he mentioned Miles City, maybe he does stuff there before. I thought
They're
he dropped
connected
about-
with that.
Oh, okay, 3,000 over there.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Anything else? All right.
Oh, hold it, question. Then, if it's an indigent burial, are we gonna bury them out here,
That's what I would say, yeah.
Yeah,
like we'd always planned?
Because it used to be, you know, like Deep Creek and the Cass Center, there was a separate place for, Indian, but, yeah, the cemetery out there.
It makes sense,
In
okay.
fact, there's been one out there that I know
no,
of.
that's fine.
Pardon me?
There's been one out there that I know of,
Yes,
about 3 years ago, 3 years ago.
has it been that long?
2 for sure.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's 2.
All right, anything else? We go to the order? All right, we are adjourned. It is 2:37. And do you need a copy of these?
scary to think that they're going that much higher, and it's about, that many more.